大家好，最近英鎊跌咗唔少，上年試過要10.7港幣先至換到1英鎊，咁但係而家8.7港幣咧就換到啦。變相而家買英國資產咧就平咗差唔多2成喎。根據政府嘅數據，香港嘅租金回報率長期維持喺2厘左右，減咗差餉地租管理費同埋維修費用，真係2厘都冇啊。同一時間，英國嘅租金回報就好好多啦。倫敦以外一般城市嘅租金回報都可以做到5-6厘，遠少少嘅地方仲可以做到7-8厘添。而且喺英國個入場費就低過香港好多，幾十萬港紙已經可以買到一間住得人嘅屋啦。呢個價錢喺香港連一個車位都買唔到啊。不過喺英國買樓收租有個問題，就係租務管理有時咧都可以好麻煩。如果買咗一層有隱患嘅樓，收幾多租都補唔返嗰個維修費用啊。而且亦都有好多法例需要遵守，未必咁適合唔想煩嘅被動投資者。之前同大家介紹過一間公司叫做 Find UK Property， 佢哋提供一個包租服務。佢哋買咗層樓俾你之後，會繼續幫你管理，做咗你嘅二房東。每個月佢哋就會俾翻租金你，頭嗰3年就係6厘，之後咧就會係5厘，並且會按住市況調整。除咗每年大約100磅嘅保險之外，基本上咧就冇乜使費啦。佢哋將你間屋租俾人，咁啊收嘅租金梗係唔止6厘啦，咁啊可能咧就係7-8厘喎。中間嗰個租金差價，佢就用嚟做租務管理同埋物業維修，亦都用嚟咧支付喺空租期間需要俾翻你嘅租金。剩低嗰部分咧就成為呢間公司嘅利潤啦。嗱，咁佢哋有錢賺嘅同時咧，你作為業主都會有穩定嘅租金收入，可以話係雙贏啊。呢間公司而家管理緊2500間屋。有一定嘅規模，佢哋亦都有一個幾十人嘅團隊，另外仲有外判承辦商，又利用咗電腦幫佢哋管理。佢哋啲屋都係買翻嚟之後，自己一手一腳咁翻新，比較容易控制維修成本。呢啲嘢都唔係我哋呢啲得1-2間屋嘅小業主咧可以做得到嘅。佢哋買緊嘅樓最平只係需要67,000英鎊，折算翻都係港幣59萬啫。另外亦都有較大嘅單位可以選擇。位置就喺英格蘭嘅東北部或者係西北部地區，因為嗰度嘅租金咧就比較高一啲。我就去過當地啦，睇樓之餘，亦都同佢哋老闆傾下。呢間屋咧就喺 Burnley 嘅，咁咧就喺英格蘭嘅西北邊啦。咁啊呢個示範單位咧就而家其實已經係之前賣咗俾人嘅啦。咁咧就最近做好裝修，一齊同大家入去睇睇。咁咧佢啱啱裝修咗嘅，咁所以你入嚟睇下嘅時候咧，都見到啲牆咧就啱啱又好。而且仲可以望下地板喎，個地板咧都係啱啱鋪好嘅，呢個真係地氈嚟嘅，灰色嘅地氈。呢個廳咧就可以用嚟做一個客廳啦，或者一個係書房都得。咁有 work from home 咧都幾適合。啊，見到啲窗咧都幾大個喎，咁咧就有自然光啦。咁咧就呢個裝修咧都唔錯嘅，亦都可以睇下上面間燈。咁咧都係實用簡潔嘅。咁啊睇翻啦，跟住咧再睇下咧就係呢一個大啲嘅廳啦。咁啊就可以一家人咧坐喺呢度。咁咪享受生活啦嚇，咁啊就都有個即係啲牆啊，全部都油好晒㗎啦。你見啲牆咧都係一個幾靚嘅一個油漆嘅裝修嚟嘅。咁啊地氈咧都係灰色嘅地氈。跟住同大家睇埋呢個廚房啦。嗱，個廚房咧個櫥櫃都係新裝修嘅喎。咁啊見佢咧就深色嘅一個櫥櫃，咁啊都幾現代化嘅。咁啊櫥櫃啦可以開啦。另外咧就係有個焗爐啦，上面有個燒氣嘅煮食爐啦嚇。跟住咧有個抽油煙機，咁再打開呢一度咧就係一個 boiler 啦。咁啊就出邊咧都有個庭院喺度，咁另外咧呢度有個星盤可以洗手用嘅。呢一度帶大家睇下其中一間雙人房啦。呢間雙人房咧都係啱啱裝修好，咁所以咧見啲牆咧都係啱啱又好，而且咧有個地氈嚇深色嘅地氈。咁呢間房咧都幾大下嘅喎，空間感咧都唔錯，咁可以擺張雙人床啦。另外咧就係衣櫃，咁同埋咧書枱咧都有充足嘅位咧，俾你嘅租客咧使用嘅。咁另外都可以留意下呢一度咧，其實亦都係有個比較大嘅窗啦。咁啊個天然光線咧都唔錯嘅。跟住睇埋另外一間房啦。嗱呢間房咧就係個 size 同頭先嗰個相差唔係好遠，一樣係雙人房嚟嘅。嗱呢間房咧一樣可以擺到雙人床啦。咁另外咧係呢一方面咧就可以擺衣櫃啊，同埋咧就係書枱一樣得。一樣啦，有個窗啊，而呢個窗咧就望到後院嘅喎。跟住再介紹埋呢度嘅浴室啦。咁呢個浴室咧，其實都有個標準嘅一個洗手盆啦，都幾闊下嘅喎。 另外咧呢度有個燈箱，咁咧撳咧就係有啲燈喺度啦。另一方面咧就有標準嘅暖罐啦。Hi Tarek, thank you very much for bringing us to this property. Can you tell us a little bit more about the background of this property? Where is it now? And how much do you spend on acquiring this? Things like that.
I could tell you average figures for this type of property. I mean, this is an H3L type of property, which is a large 2-bedroom. It's in Lancashire, so it is more expensive than the properties in the northeast. So we would be selling this property around about £85,000. And typically, we would have possibly purchased this property at an auction in a poor condition, maybe for £55,000 to £60,000. You know, there would have been auction costs, normally about £6,000, and then stamp duty and other costs, and it would have cost us maybe £65,000 all in, and then we normally would spend about £15,000 on the renovation, typically on average. Sometimes it's more. If the property is in a very bad condition, we may need to do work on the roof, or we may need to do the full electrical things, and brand new gas central heating system. So it can be more. But and then we have to guarantee that property for the long term, and we would sell this property, like I said, £85,000. And if the client were doing that themselves, it would probably end up costing them more, because they would have to use contractors, they'd have to maintain the property at their cost. So for clients who are looking at long-term investment, although this seems expensive at 85,000, it is actually very good value because everything is included. Yeah, the property is in a good condition. It will be maintained in a good condition. Every time the tenants move out, we will do a fresh renovation, change the carpets, paint it, do whatever that is needed. If the kitchen wasn't renovated at the beginning, we might do it at the second renovation. Because we don't do things which are not necessary, because we treat the properties like our own. We do what we think is right for that property to maximize the investment over the long term. So this is the pricing.
So do you have an idea of the valuation of this property before and after the renovation?
Well, you see, when it comes to valuation, what we're interested in is what is the market willing to pay for the property right then. Yeah. So the valuation at the beginning, because it's an auction property, the valuation has to be the lower price which we have paid. We have paid, say, £55,000 for the property. That is the valuation. Yeah. When we're selling the property, again, we have to look at what the market. Now, the price which we are selling it as a package, as a solution, which is ideal for long-term investment. If you got an independent valuer and look at the property as is right now, they would probably value it lower than £85,000. Not a lot lower, but certainly lower, because we are not only selling the property as is, but we are guaranteeing that property for the long term, and we are maintaining, and we're giving it with a guaranteed rent system. So there is a bit of a difference, but overall, the value which the client gets is still very good.
Could you please explain your net guarantee rent system?
Yeah, of course. Under this system, we are effectively your tenants, and we pay you a rent, which is a net rent. That means we are responsible for all the costs relating to the property, and there are many hidden costs. But you get a net rent, and that net rent, which we can afford, realistically, is 5% of property price per year. And we fix that for the first 3 years. And then it increases in line with rent inflation every year, as per the Office of National Statistics. But in the first 3 years, because our maintenance costs are much lower, because the property is freshly renovated, we give you an extra 1%. So you actually get 6% guaranteed rent for the first 3 years. Then it does drop to 5% because that is the underlying rate, but it increases every year thereafter. And eventually, of course, it will go over the 6% level and higher. Now, there are a lot of hidden costs in property maintenance and management, because every time the tenants move, we have to do a fresh re-renovation on the property. All that is covered. That is why the underlying rate is 5%. But when you compare with the market and you compare with normal letting agents, and you work out the actual net rent you get, it is actually better than that. The 5% is better than you would get a gross rent of maybe 8%, but then you have to pay for maintenance, compliance costs, vacant costs, tenant not paying costs. When you take everything into account, our net guaranteed rent system is actually better, delivers higher rent, and it gives you peace of mind.
You mentioned the capital gain in the long term in the past is more or less the same in different parts of England or UK. But what about the future? Do you think there would be any change due to the unemployment in the remote areas or not?
No, I believe that the biggest potential is actually in the areas which are depressed now, because they have the potential to do better as the economy in those areas gets better. But it's very difficult to predict and forecast what will happen in the future. Because if I knew what will happen in the future, I would be a very rich man. In terms of capital growth. Because what happens is that when you look at capital growth and location, you look at the information you know. But unfortunately, everybody else knows that information too. And that has already affected the pricing. For example, let me tell you about Birmingham. Birmingham, the prices used to be quite reasonable. Then they announced the rail link from London, high-speed rail link to Birmingham, HS2. Immediately they announced that the prices went up. Right? Now people say to me, okay, why aren't you selling in Birmingham? It's a high-speed link. It's a good location. But the prices are already high. So in the next 10, 12 years, they're still going to only double. They're not going to grow any faster because that fact has been taken into account. And this applies to every location. So when you actually do your research and you look at the facts and figures, then you see that providing the property is in a good community, it is looked after and maintained, it will grow at a very similar rate over the long term. So location is not an issue, providing we price the properties correctly and we're going to rent them out. And rental demand is very strong in the UK. So we don't have a problem in any area in the north renting out a property. Providing you set the rent at the market price, you have a property which is in a good condition and you provide good, reasonable service, you will rent that property out. I just want to add a couple of things which I normally say to our clients. And the first of those is that I ask the client, are you happy to be a passive investor? Because our properties are ideal for passive investors. If you want to be very active in your property and manage it yourself, or be very up to date on exactly what's happening with the property, it is better to buy in the open market. Because under our system, you are the passive owner, you are the owner of the property, but you don't deal with the property at all. You pass that responsibility 100% to us. So we effectively, look after all aspects of the property. So that is one question. And most of our clients, they say, yes, they like that. So that is fine. So that is one thing which I like to check. The second thing I want to check is that, are you happy to be a long-term investor? Because if you're looking to buy a property short-term, just buy now and maybe sell next year, our company is not suitable for you. Because our package is priced and bundled for long-term investors. And they benefit greatly if it is a long-term investment. Because in any property purchase and management, there are a lot of hidden costs. And we take all of that away. And over the long term, that is a significant benefit to clients. So I think if you are a long-term investor, then our solutions are ideal for you. And the third thing I like to tell clients is that in the marketplace, you will see properties which are cheaper than what we sell for. Okay? But you have to look at everything, take everything into account. The fact that our properties are guaranteed, they will be maintained at our cost for as long as you remain a client. We will deliver on the net guaranteed rent system. When you take all of those things into account, and the fact that we will upgrade any compliance things as and when they arise. For example, the EPC. If the government changes the rule and says all properties have to be EPC B by 2026, we will start the upgrade to upgrade all our properties at our cost. And it costs us far less to do that than it would cost our clients. So because of that, the value which our properties offer are better. And when you compare that with the open market, you will see that overall our prices are competitive. I think these are the three things which I normally like to tell clients before they buy.
最後提一提風險因素，同其他物業投資一樣，樓價、租金、匯率可升可跌。如果有需要，請諮詢專業人士嘅意見。 萬一佢哋公司結業嘅話，咁層樓咧都仲係屬於你嘅，不過到時就要揾過另一間租務管理公司或者自己管理翻啦。有興趣嘅朋友可以去 refer.wuc.pro 留低你嘅聯絡方法，記住聽埋翻 UK Property 喎。而家經我哋介紹，仲有額外200磅嘅折扣優惠添。今日就介紹到呢度啦，拜拜。